Oh, I love that song. That song means it's time for us to get to work, but it's really not work because we're talking about golf the way we talk about golf. In the bag, he is Ian Page. I am Jason Jackson. And Ian, before we do anything, how's your shoulder?
It is what it is. It's a struggle. It's a lot better today. I tell you, yesterday, I was concerned. I think Friday afternoon and Saturday, I was concerned to the point where I tried to speed up my appointment, change my appointment with my orthopedic guy. But today, it's much better. So, I mean, I'm 6, 7 weeks into this, but I got all kinds of problems with degeneration, torn labrum, bursitis, and all kind of stuff. So anyway, but it's much better today. So
this is not a recurring bit. This is me caring for my brother because he is not able to play golf. And there would be a lot of golf for you right now anyway.
yeah,
But you could go and maybe get in a simulator, hit off a tee. You
right.
could have participated with your boys down in
could have been in Naples at Calusa, right?
Come
which
on now.
is
which you deserve.
I miss, and right, it's good for the soul. And I could have seen Tommy Mack at 80, which I thought he was about 80. But yeah, how's he doing, by the way? It's with the hips.
Listen, Tommy and Bombs are doing great. Okay, those are two people that have decided no more Missouri, right? No more Kansas.
Good.
Full-time Naples.
Wow.
And we're beautiful hosts at Calusa Pines. For yours truly and John Butchergross of the Worldwide Leader. Now, John's youngest son, Jackson, who is a professional golfer, joined us the next day, I believe at Quail Creek, I believe is where we played with our buddy Josh Leppo. And it was brought up by Jackson that he was offended that he was not invited to Calusa Pines because, as his father will do, even to his boys, so now all his offspring, he will not communicate.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. But the other thing is, sometimes you're out. It's just
that's
guys are just like that.
I love me some Jack, but his father said, I'm going to Calusa Pines, then I'm going to dinner, and then I'm going to have cigars. And Jack said, I wouldn't want to do that. It was like,
yeah, well, brother, you're just not going to be doing it this time with me.
We'll get you in. We'll get you in. I love playing with Jack.
You're out. Yeah, I haven't never played. Well, I played when he was real young. I'd like to play with him now. And, but yeah, it was like when I was at a wedding years ago with Stuart and somebody else and my wife, and they was like, hey, we get this guy. Stuart calls, hey, boom, boom, boom. I said, okay, I thought we had, 4. He's like, no, my boy Fred's coming. So I had to call this guy that V knows. I'm like, hey, sorry, you're out. And, my wife, of course, as you know, she felt bad. But I said, honey, don't worry. Guys, don't worry about it. He was in, now he's out. So I didn't know that Stuart had a 4th, so it's okay. And he went and found somewhere to play, and he was fine.
Yeah. We might be available next time.
Right,
by the way, maybe not. Now you're going to beat me to it. Ian, will you step up, please? It's time for us.
Get out of the way.
Are you up first? It's time to
always
tee off, baby. Here we go. Our first headline. And by the way, Matt Schulson, our fantastic video editor, After Effects monster, putting the headlines above our heads. Type it in, Matty. 100 to 1. I'm stealing a line from Nance in the 100th edition of any golf tournament at Riviera. A first-time winner gets it done. I felt like, I don't think Nance wrote that one down, by the way. It felt like it was right from the gut. I don't think that
he did. I don't listen, but
I know. But let's give Jacob Bridgman. I was going to put the original headline was climbing Jacob's ladder. I thought it was blasphemous, so I kept moved on. But Jacob Bridgman wins the Genesis Invitational, his first PGA Tour victory in his 66th career start. This stuff is hard, people. He becomes the 13th first-time winner in tournament history. And first since James Hahn back in 2015. Time flies, my dog. Yeah. Wins in his tournament debut, so he wins it the first time he plays the Genesis, becoming the first player to do that since 75. That was Pat Fitzsimmons way back when did that to win his first start at the event. The bottom line is this, man. I love watching someone win for the first time. I don't care who it is. You think about everything in that man's 26 plus years. It's a nothing. It's a snap in time in life. But in your golf life of, let's just say it's been 20 years of him, like first lesson, learning from his dad or his uncle. I don't know his backstory yet. I'm sure we'll get to know
All
it.
right, you'll get all that.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's going to
Yeah.
avalanche. Just slathers. Just got married. Like Tiger's there to award you.
Right, he
your
won a
trophy,
signature
right?
event at an iconic venue. I mean,
Come on,
pretty
it's
impressive
fantastic. So
thing.
congratulations to him. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, he was, um, he went to Clemson, came to the Corn Ferry Tour. As you said, and we always talk about, he could have gone 15, 20 years without ever winning a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he, you darkened things up, brother.
I know what happened. What happened? I lost my light situation. Somebody got to pay these bills around here. Go right ahead.
Oh man,
Continue, my brother.
Anyway, so yeah, congrats to him. It played well all week. And all I had to do today was about shoot even par, which is about what he did. And I think the thing about it is last week people remember him because he was in that mess on the 18th hole at Pebble. He was down in the rocks and had to hit up. He was freezing Morikawa out, unintentionally. Took him 45 minutes because he had to hit from off the rocks. The ball didn't make it back on the green, bounced down, then he had to go back in the fairway and drop. Made a hell of a six, but I mean, it was one of those all-time things that you're like, what in the world is going on here? So he kind of got known for that last week. It was a social media viral thing, and then the next week he wins a signature event. So good for him.
That's what I get for trying to record in the bag in the streets. Okay, I need to keep my ass at home and try to get this done. I'm in the streets. There's no place like home, Ian. I know you're going to say not a lot of people care. I wouldn't do an LPGA story just out of the blue. It's the number one player in the world. Gino, by the way, Tita Kuhn, like no one says the L. It's like Tita Kuhn. When she's Taiwanese, they were in Thailand, and she wins there for the first time. I just thought it was cool to be able to go to the crib and justify your top billing in front of your people. I mean, she went there and did some damage, closed it out with 4 under 68, finished the tournament 24 freaking under. So good for her in front of the people as the LPGA Tour rolls out.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. They're in Singapore next week, I think. You know who wasn't there as a player?
Tell me.
Nelly Korda.
Yeah. So you might not be number one, but she's the marquee.
Yeah, when she doesn't play in a lot of these events, she's like, that's why the tour. Again, we get into why the tour has problems.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, forget it, I'm not playing these events. You can't do that, and have the tour be taken seriously. But anyway, that's a whole nother deep dive. But
yeah, deep drive. If you allow it one time.
Yeah.
Hold that Tiger. Our next headline: Tiger Woods won't rule out return to this year's Masters. I know you love these. I know you love these because it's not a commitment. It's not a denial. It's a conversation. You had Immelman and Nance and Tiger up in the booth because Tiger's the host this week at Riviera. It was nice to see Tiger. It always still is. I still like seeing him around. I really don't need to hear from him. I would like to see him play really well. It was nice to hear him say one thing, though, before I get into details of this. As he's kicking it around, just tongue-in-cheek with Nance and Immelman, he did mention, because there was the question, Tiger, would you play before if you're going to decide to play the Masters, would you try to play an event before the Masters? He said, man, I just want to play. I mean, it could be on tour. It could be the Champions Tour. It could be a member guest.
That's kind of
wait a minute. And Nance goes, do you need a guest? Like he saw the opening and went for it. But it was the first time I really heard him publicly embrace the idea of playing on the Champions Tour.
Well, he now understands with his physical limitations and age.
He needs that stuff, right?
That he knows that he knows he can't compete at the high level anymore. I mean, everyone else needs to get on the same page, but eventually you start to realize that, so, and I'm, again, I'm not comparing myself to Tiger, but that's what I was telling you and Butch. Like, I just want to play golf. I can't play right now because I'm not cleared. I mean, I could swing. So you know that feeling, and I'm older than Tiger, and you got these injuries, and you're just like, I just want to play. I want to do the thing that I love. For him, it's a way of life, and but at 50, with all those surgeries, I mean, it's going to be a long road back. He could still, I think, make some hay on the Champions Tour, but
that'd be fun. I would love to see him do a year or two with 5 years on Champions on a full schedule. That'd be fun. Tiger noting that listen, he's not ruling out a return. It could play the Masters. underwent this lumbar disc replacement surgery in October. I hate when you just laugh at people. And also ruptured his Achilles last March. It's a cavalcade. It's like he made a deal with the devil to be the best golfer we've ever
He
seen
did.
in our lives.
And
And then the
now you're
devil
paying
showed
the
up.
price.
The devil
Yeah.
showed up and said,
Right.
I'm gonna get you a little earlier.
Yeah,
I
as you
did
know,
with all
yeah,
these
I
other
told you.
cats.
I told you what was coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, good for him. But yeah, I don't see him playing at the Masters this year. But
He has
hey,
not played in an event since the Open Championship at Royal Troon in 2024. And there's no official timetable for him to return. It was
no.
a fun conversation. And by the way, Tiger's super busy, right? Like he's really trying to focus. First of all, he's building courses all over the place, making a ton of dough. And then the next layer is he's really put his. I give him credit for this part because he's not playing actively, but he does care about the history and legacy of this game, and has been tapped. I assume some expenses paid to be a part of the decision making group that the tours put together to really figure out what's best for professional golf from their vantage point going forward. And he has been vocal. He has been connective. He's at board meetings. He is also noted he's on two other boards. So that man's out there doing it. But as it pertains to future format and schedule changes for the PGA Tour, and I'm assuming we're going to hear about those sooner than later, he's been instrumental in that. And, as a matter of fact, that's what kind of had him paused on dealing with Ryder Cup as a captaincy because he's already got enough on his table and not really worried about Team USA at Adair Manor in 2027. Although I want us all to go, by the way, but I'm gonna keep pushing this and pushing
Yeah.
this. We'll have a summit about this summer when we all will have to
Yeah,
make a
we could do
decision
that
if we're going to
'cause,
do it because I want to
Um,
go. I want to go,
yeah.
IP.
Well, yeah, but we don't want to go over there and be in a grandstand and not be able to see anything and pay $10,000.
No,
And
no, we're
so,
going to need a hookup, son. That's how we do things.
yeah,
That's
but
how we
even
do
then,
things.
like what is the hookup? And all these people are loud and you can't see. The best way to watch it is on TV. I'm
It
just
is.
I'm just
You're
telling
right.
you, you
So maybe
know.
that's what we do. We just decide
But
to get together
yeah,
and watch
but
it.
we could get together exactly
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and do play golf in the morning and then watch
There you
in
go.
a big little cottage
Or I
and
think,
hang out like
oh,
the whole Cabot Citrus things or something. I
oh
mean,
my God, look at you making stuff happening on the west coast of Florida. We can just slide over to Stream Song
I
right
can't,
after
I
that.
can't,
It'd be great.
yeah, I've never played there. You have, I mean, I can't believe I was just reading because I'm just, like I've said, I want to play and I'm reading this review.
Mhm.
And this is, I mean, I've heard about this for a year and a half. I've read all about it, seen some video clips, and that was the first time that someone's like, this used to be Worldwoods. That should be the lead in every review. No one's mentioned that in a year and a half. Like, what the,
you thought it was a brand new joint. Actually, we all
right,
did.
right.
We all
And it
did.
is, but I don't know what happened to Worldwoods. And it's like, wait a minute, we were there 20 years ago, and that, so something must have happened, and now it's there. So they must have remade that, and they've got cottages. So now I'm like, well, I definitely want to go now. I mean,
All
anyway,
right. That's it.
so
We made a decision. We made a
yeah,
decision about how it's going to go in
cottages.
27. You,
Uh,
me, and Tiger will not be at Adair Manor.
I won't be there. I'll tell
We
you
will
that.
be somewhere. And, if Tiger's lucky, he'll get invited. Ian, I assume you've already hit.
Yeah, hurry up, man.
Get
You
off
know.
the tee. Get off the tee. Let's get into our deep drive. I'm telling on you. I'm telling everyone how you bullied me this week because I had this deep drive discussion already planned. All right. I said, oh, here's a really good story. Here's an extension of a story about how the world tour is dealing with their live guys. And they made a path for a bunch of folks. What was it? Eight guys? Eight guys.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
John,
I believe so. Yeah,
yeah, and Terrell Hatton's probably of that group, the one that might
right. That you
bounce
might
off
know
people's
about. Right,
foreheads.
right.
But John Rahm was not in that group, and he wasn't in that group. He wasn't going to be in the group. And
Yeah,
Ian said, until a decision is made, we are not doing that story.
exactly.
And all
Because
I
there is
said,
no story.
and I just said, next headline. I don't have the energy to battle my man. But there was another story this week that
Mhm.
came through that you probably don't care about, but I still think it's something that's interesting. And it's for those, if you like money, if you like money in sports, this is a cool story that I dug because I started to look at the list because the news came out that Genesis has renewed as the title sponsor for
Mhm.
the event at Riviera through, I believe, the next 4 years into 2030. I was surprised when I just looked at the entire list of tournament sponsors for the PGA Tour, how many of those sponsorships are 2030 and
Mm.
beyond. So I'm going to give some credit to the tour for locking down some of this stuff because it wasn't too long ago, Ian, that was a struggle to get these title
Yeah.
sponsors, and that's, as you know, well known. You could share with our listener slash viewer how important it is to have these aspects nailed down to make sure these pots, particularly in those $20 million events, which we've had the last couple of weeks, that you better have your title sponsored.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No question about it. They drive the bus. You don't have that. You don't have a tournament. It's a big nut for those guys, and they got to carry a lot. They got to sell pro-am spots. They got to do all these ads, and it's a lot. So it was a struggle the last few years because they haven't had the best players in the field. So if you're not a major, you don't, you want the Brooks Koepkas and these guys to be able to help you to sell tickets and all this stuff. So it was a tough ask. The tour saying, "Hey, we want more money," and they're saying, "Look, I'm having trouble making money." So we'll have to see what these changes bring about. But yeah, it's always about the money. And I thought it was interesting. We had two back-to-back. I don't know, maybe it was the same way last year. Back-to-back signature events. Just
I don't think it was. No, that's big, right? To
Yeah.
have that big money 1-2 punch. And when we
Yeah.
get to the 19th hole, I'll give you the effect of that from a viewer standpoint as well. Back-to-back weeks of excellent viewership.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
and that's
tour.
what happens when you get the big names going. So that's why you want that.
So IP, back into this aspect of this big money, the tour only has two title sponsors that need to be re-upped. That's it.
Hmm.
Everybody else is in to 28, 29, 30. There's a couple, the Century,
Mhm.
they're sponsored
Yeah,
through 2035. That's a big one. Good Lord. What did they sign up for? And then what was another big one? There was another one that was big. Oh, the CJ Cup, the CJ Group, the Byron Nelson.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
until 2033.
Mhm.
I'm like, I might be retired when some of this stuff starts rolling out. But I like to see it, though. There was one other one that I thought, the Puerto Rican Open, the Puerto Rican Tourism Company. Is that one of those side by side? Puerto Rican
Yeah, it's an
Open?
opposite field event. Yeah,
Opposite
a
field,
big
yeah.
event. Yeah. So,
Exactly. But
but
still, it's important to have that locked down. But
yeah,
I'm encouraged by it more than I think I have been in recent years. In that there's Cadillac's coming back, obviously down here in Miami.
yeah,
It's for those of us that love the game and know how they're fortified and know that it's
yeah.
important to meet people from these companies so we can get into hospitality for free. It's important to keep track of
Exactly.
these things, IP.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
That deep
So,
drive felt a little shallow. I'm gonna be honest, because I wasn't fully prepared and I had to call an audible because you didn't want to talk about Rom at all. Rom talked about Rom this week, and
I
IP
mean,
didn't want to talk about Rom.
again, I'm just saying the only thing to talk about is that right. He's not going to pay his fines.
He's
Okay.
getting fined 1.5 million bucks for per tournament for
Right. But you know
tournaments
what?
that he wouldn't have even played. That is horse shittery right there.
You know
That I'm
what?
with him. I'm with him on that. Everything
Eh,
else, he made this bad, and I'm not going to have a whole
Exactly. He
lot
made
of
it. So
empathy.
it is what it is. And again, we're not going to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it until
Mhm.
he appeals in the summer, whenever the heck that is, and there's a decision. Either he's going to win or he's going to lose. At that point, I can talk about that a little bit. And by the way, at that point, we're still over a year away from the Ryder Cup, where everyone keeps talking about, well, it all affects his Ryder Cup stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't believe that.
Right. So I don't really care until
Yeah.
he either wins or loses the appeal, and then we'll see what to talk about.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Well, that's
Yeah.
fair enough. That's why I let you beat me up in a corner.
Hey, I'm just
That drive was only about 220, by the way. We got that off the heel. That
my
drive was
shoulders
not as
hurting.
deep.
I got a bad
It
shoulder.
wasn't as deep. Let's head over to the range and work this out for a range session. This is kind of a rules slash range dynamic, and I'm calling this segment this week Extra Head because Ludwig Oberg is now going to go down in history. He's got a little slice of rules history. He and his caddy were the first to take advantage of the 2026 rule change update that we saw happen in real time last year for those of us that watch way too much golf. And this happened on the 18th tee during the third round at Pebble Beach. Oberg hit a drive out of bounds, right side of the par 5 18th. I'm always worried about the left. I'm the right. I didn't. I
Yeah,
guess
there's
it
no
would
V
have to be
over
able.
there.
There,
It's far, but
yeah.
yeah,
Well, you can climb down into the water. You just can't go in anybody's backyard. This was his ninth hole, by the way, the 18th hole, and he noticed that the face was cracked. Now think back, right at the BMW Championship last year, and Matt Fitzpatrick. I mean, he's holding his driver
right.
face up to the rules official, and The old model local rule G9
Hey,
had to be updated, and it was kind of due to that particular incident. However, golfers still had to keep the spare driver or part in the locker room when they re-upped that, for the rest of last year. This year, the PGA Tour asked for an update that allows players to keep a spare driver head, hence extra head, in their bag and change it on the course when the club was deemed to be damaged. There's a part of you that's a traditionalist. There's a part of you that is pragmatic and logical. Which part of you takes over with this rule change?
yeah, no, I'm all with this. I'm the pragmatic side here.
Mhm.
If you crack a driver, you shouldn't be penalized. You know what I mean for doing that, which happens in the normal course of play. And if you happen to have a spare head in there, that's legal and not illegal. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to put that back into play. So
Yeah.
I'm cool with this. I think, the last few years we've seen golf sort of try to modernize some of these rules that are just so archaic and out of place, that they need to be changed. And this is, I think, one of them. And I think Matt Fitzpatrick had a great point last year. But hey, the rules are the rules, but now they've changed. So look, you know what? I think it happened to Bryson at the PGA Championship a few years ago. But anyway, and right, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do that. Now, if you're taking it and whacking it, against a tree because you're upset, I'm not so sympathetic to that. But sometimes the driver face cracks.
I love the fact that the piece, and it only works for the driver, by the way, but I guess that's the one club among the other fairway woods that could be impacted this way. That your first of all, the time it would take for your caddy to go back to the locker room.
Exactly.
You probably get the stuff and the little twisty thing and the head and bring it back out. And oh my God, unless he had a cart. I mean, you played 2 holes.
Even then, though, right?
I mean, imagine you're the furthest place out, right? It might be 4 holes. So anyway, I love it. I'm glad that the cool thing was this was the tour itself advocating on behalf of its players. And usually that stuff can be divergent and clashy. I will give credit where credit is due because extra head is important in all aspects of life. Let's get off the range. Get off the range. Oh my God. What am I doing? I used to be such just right down the middle broadcast talent, buddy. And you've turned me out. Hey, before we go to the 19th hole, you're already there. We're already there. Let's talk about Jack's Fam Foundation's chief initiative. We call it Get There. Let me tell you why. Because it's a full cost of attendance bridge that focuses on identifying elite scholars and making sure they get to the university of their dreams by providing, here's what we give, a 4-year transportation scholarship, which covers airfare, baggage fees, and ground transportation. The kids, and I shouldn't call them that, but they're so young. I mean, they're younger than our kids now, buddy. Okay, this is a new level of old for us, baby. There are young people who are younger than our own children. That's just going to continue to happen now. But these folks, they're scholars, and they did the work. They continue to do the work. Jack's Fam Foundation makes sure they get there. For more information and donations, we appreciate those. Go to jacksfamfoundation.com. Buddy, let's get lubed up. I'm sure you had yourself some, did you have yourself some Caymas? You've been to a lot of gala/events over the last little bit. And I want to know what you've been imbibing as we get to the 19th hole here.
I did have some Buffalo Trace the other night at that big gala.
Just the center of the wheel.
And I had some Buffalo Trace last night with, did it with my buddy from college and his new wife.
Nice.
So I have had a little run there. Didn't have probably my first drink in probably a month. So,
how's the new wife? She all right? She going to hang in there?
She's good, yeah.
She going to make it?
Oh, yeah. I think she's really good. Very different than the first one.
I would hope so. If you're going to do it again, which I don't advise, make sure she's different. Here we go. Let's get out of here. Oh, my God. First topic, buddy. For touring pros, what's the perfect par 3 for us to watch them play and for them testing their particular skill set? A lot of rancor about Riviera Country Club's par 3 fourth. It was 270. The wrong type of they had that little, what's that catchy grass up there up the front side?
Kikuyu.
The Shaka Connery, the Kakan.
Yeah, Kikuyu.
Yeah. The Kikuyu. It's a little gummy. It's a little gummy. And it doesn't allow for the release. And if you hit the green, it's going to bounce right off. So what's the perfect test? What do you think?
Well, I don't know if there's a perfect test.
What's most enjoyable?
But you can look around, you can look around the world and you can see par threes at 100 yards. You know, the postage stamp green.
Yeah,
Augusta,
those are my favorite.
12th at Augusta, it's 100 yards. So it doesn't have to be. It can be 100, 120 yards, or it could be. I think it needs to be under 200. I don't think there needs to be a par three over 200 yards, even for the pros that can test your skill and metal. You can put a bunker somewhere, but there's no reason to be taking off a head cover to hit into a par three if you're a professional golfer. I just don't see this. I don't see the point. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think anything under 200, in between 150 to 200 yards, and you can make the green undulating. You can put hazards in the way.
There you go.
There's no reason for 273 is insanity. It doesn't make any sense. Even for these guys, you know, and that was not the intent when that course was built. I can guarantee you that. So I don't understand. It was apparently the third most difficult course last year. Only 15% of the guys hit the green, so they lengthened it by 40 yards.
That's not fun.
What are you doing?
Fun. Counterintuitive. How long is the Island Green at TPC Sawgrass?
It's like 130 to 150.
Yeah. Come on.
Tell
me a greater moment, more
Exactly.
enjoyable, tense moment than that. Give me a buck 35, even for us. I mean, that's perfectly. I mean, I don't need all that water, but I'm saying a buck 35.
Exactly.
I'm fine. I love that number for
right. It's a wedge 9-iron even for those guys, and the wind can affect it, but you don't need more than a wedge or 9-iron to test their metal when you got a little water surrounding it and a little bit of wind. You're right. And again, we've seen it in some of these U.S. Opens, 225, 250. I think Oakmont had a 250-yard par three last year. Now that's Oakmont. It's still too long. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see what we're trying to prove.
IP, we've been dragging our ass on these topics. Let's here we go. Next topic. Here we go. Pebble Beach Pro-Am last Sunday. 3.5 million people watching as Morikawa, new daddy to be, won his event there. That's a beautiful number. Matched last year when Rory won, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Peaked at 5.2 million with the Olympics, Daytona 500, early dynamics with NBA All-Star because of the Olympics. And so you got all this other traffic that tends to rate higher, does rate higher, but not tend to, does rate higher than golf, but still really good golf number.
Yeah, well, again, we talk about it. And, last year Rory did his bit when everything was struggling. And, you get the big names and they're down the stretch on a Sunday, people will watch. And 3 to 4 or 5 million is a lot for golf. If you have the big names doing that and in contention, that's what you'll get, and whether or not you're going up against whatever. So good for them, but that's what the tour's trying to do. They're trying to get the best players in the world to go at it more often than not, which we haven't had the last few years.
Next topic, Anthony Kim on social. Hello. He got a little clap back. I love this. After he won on Live, posted this with his daughter running into his arms, a picture over his shoulder. Want to take a moment to thank Golf Digest, Golf.com, and Golf Channel, and many other excellent writers and broadcasters for talking shit on my name while I was down and giving me more motivation. I love you all. With a little heart emoji.
Right. And he deserves
He spelled talking wrong. I did fix that for him, but it was. I mean, I like a little. Hey, I have a platform to talk to.
Absolutely.
And how easy is it to bleep on a cat when he's going through his own demons?
Right. All you got to do, no one had to do that, but that's the world we live in now because the algorithm rewards all that nonsense and yelling. And all they had to do was say, hey, like me, I didn't think the guy would win again. I thought, hey, he may have some flashes because he has too much talent, but I didn't think he'd win again. But I wasn't going to take a dump on him and say he's, but I was just saying, right. So yeah, you didn't need to do that, but that's what we feed into today. Right. And that's what breaks through all the noise. And so to me, he's justified in clapping back. So,
and here's the thing, Anthony knows these guys, and it's a small world, and guys hang out together. They have dinner together. How many guys have tried some booger sugar and drink too much, and then had something to say about it? Exactly. I mean, that's the thing that's disingenuous about all that. Anthony Kim,
absolutely,
way to use your platform, buddy. Next topic, let's get into this situation that you love, because when we talk about Live, you make it very clear about the fact, as much as we hate it, it ain't going nowhere. And there was another infusion of money to confirm that. John Carpenter, who writes about golf and sports media for Sports Business Journal, reported that the fund, the PIF, has approved 267 million in fresh capital for Live Golf. So hey, you need a corner, Bill?
I mean, do they make that
What you gotta
overnight
do?
with that fund? The
Oh,
fund's
that-
worth $1 trillion. So at 2%, multiply that. So yeah, that's why I keep saying they're not going anywhere because they have unlimited money. So every day they wake up, they're making more money. Even at 2%, that fund is invested, which it's not. It's probably getting 18 to 20% return.
Oh my God.
And that's just one fund. But yeah, so they're not going anywhere because the money's there. And again, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure. I think we need to get over the hate for Live. How is it not better for the players to have another place to go, to have
More
leverage?
options. More
So
options.
yeah, I mean, so it was free agency back in the day, and I think it was, and the tour wouldn't be playing all these signature events if it weren't for Live. So I don't know. I don't know why.
And you say one elevated the other. And
now there's and now maybe they're going to coexist for however long, but it's players have options now. So I don't know how they can be mad at that. Everyone needs to just settle down and go, look, we're all playing for more money on the tour.
Right.
Liv's we're paid over here, so what's the problem?
Yeah.
But
it's just the money, though. I'm not going to get off that IP. All those guys get, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But I'm telling you, your grandchildren, my grandchildren, they're not going to know these dudes. And I'm not saying they're going to know every great golfer. They're going to know because hopefully we've bestowed it upon them. But there's going to be no history that comes out of Live.
Probably not, except unless we look back 50 years and like free agency, it ended up doing
changed
something,
things, maybe.
Maybe. Right, but right.
I'm open to that.
But that's the way that goes, and eventually, there has to be change, and the players just had no other way to go, and they didn't have their media rights and everything else. The tour had everything, so eventually, sometimes somebody steps in and disrupts that, and that's what happened.
Last topic, IP, as we fully know here on In the Bag, we are Black Golf, so we're always celebrating blackness in golf. But during Black History Month, I've been trying to find these little things that maybe people don't know. Here's something I didn't know. Tell me if you did. The name John Shippen. John Shippen, does that come to mind for you, sir? See,
yes.
you know most things.
Yeah,
but here, people, Shippen played in the very first, right? First, and then what would that have been? Fourth or fifth U.S. Open. So in 1896, John Shippen finished fifth, by the way, in the 1896 U.S. Open. And again, in 1902, U.S. Open finished fifth. John Matthew Shippen Jr. was black, y'all. And that's a fact, y'all. And I could never be a slave, y'all. It's like that. Bleep that out, guys. Bleep that out. I have another job. Bleep me, Matt and Bryce. Make sure no one gets the MFer there. But how about, I did not know about John Shippen until I was doing some research to find something new. Also, Shinnecockian. How about that? That man's half native, half black, but everybody black back then said they were Indian. So I'm not sure if I'm going to give it all that. But he's believed to be America's first American-born professional golfer. He was very young when golf came into his life, and he was on the Shinnecock Indian Reservation, close to Shinnecock Hills. And at 16 years old, back when you need to make some money, you ain't going to the 11th grade. All right, you can go get a job, and he earned an assistant pro gig at Shinnecock Hills, and grew himself into a really good player. Clearly. As he played it was the second U.S. Open in 1896. How about that?
Just needed a chance,
Come on. That's all it was.
They kept saying. So yeah, and I mean, there is a lot of great history and a lot of great players that a lot of people don't know about. So we do need to shine a light on some of those guys.
Shockingly, he never played in the Masters.
Yeah, well, remember,
it was way before, but
exactly.
Still,
I mean, what was it? I don't know. It was up till 1950 or something, where the PGA was Caucasian only.
I mean, in the rules, at least
in their bylaws.
At least with the NBA, it was an unwritten rule for 4 years not to have brothers. They had it in ink.
They were like, nah, bro.
Oh
exactly.
My God!
So,
the NFL had brothers, then didn't, and had to bring them back. PGA Tour was like, hey, you ain't never.
We have Caucasian only.
Goodness.
So
man, just nuts. But we have names that we know a little bit better in pioneering in golf, and I just want to make sure we got in a word, good sir, about John Shippen. That was awesome, man.
Yeah,
We'll
it is
find
awesome.
some good pictures. Before we get out of here, IP, your favorite part of the program where everybody's playing. The old Honda Classic is the
Yeah,
Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches now. That's
yeah,
a mouthful. I don't know if I love that,
yeah.
but
I
I'm
know.
sure they love that Cognizant money.
Money, but right.
Exactly.
I still call it the Honda. But it was the Honda for so
I
many
would like you to
years.
be cognizant, sir, that is the
Yeah, I'm
Cognizant
sure they would
Classic
too. But
in
yeah,
the Palm Beaches.
um,
At Palm Beach Gardens, defending champion Joe Highsmith. It's all about the wind, right? If the wind is blowing next
yeah,
week, it's rough. Otherwise, we're gonna
and
see some low numbers.
it's the bear trap. Remember,
Yes, sir.
15, 16, 17. So
Perfect
uh,
for TV.
and 18, yeah, which is
Yeah.
all that water on the right and left. So yes, always a good finish there. I think
Yes,
usually.
sir. As you noted, the ladies are in Singapore, LPGA HSBC Women's World Championship. Linda Ko, the defending champ. The champions are off. They'll be in Boca next week. Well, they are from Naples to Boca. They know exactly what they're doing with the Champions Tour. Where are the oldest people you're going to
Exactly.
play
Let's
in
go
that
there.
right there? And then it's on the World Tour going deep down beneath the horn, if you will. The Investec South African Open will be played on the World Tour. My man, this was an efficient and glorious
Yes.
edition of the program. You look fabulous. I'm
Thank you. Well,
hopeful that the shoulder continues to heal because I think
yeah.
sooner than later you're about to defy medical order and start getting
Yeah,
ready for the
eventually
spring.
I did get one. I got a lot of these orthopedic surgeons on speed dial, unfortunately or fortunately.
That's
And
fortunate.
one
That's
guy I
fortunate.
said, I said, look, man, if I do some damage, am I okay? Or am I going to do that much more damage if I just play through the pain or whatever? He's like, well, nothing we can't fix. I'm like, you know what? I like that attitude. So eventually that's what I'm going to do. And then we can replace it after it's really all jacked up. Get it good and jacked up, not just semi. So we'll see. But because I'm going to be playing come
Oh yeah.
April,
Can't
whether,
wait.
doctor says
Can't
yes
wait.
or no, I'm going to be playing Advil and whatever. So
And I'll be right there next to you. We're looking
exactly.
forward for those that are like follow us closely, and there's probably 10 or 12 people that do. Cliff Addison, the founder and CEO of Urban Golf Weekend, was set to join us this week. He had some travel issues. There's all the travel in the United States is out of control right now, as there are some jam up dynamics in the Northeast and the Mid Atlantic. Plus, we didn't have TSA, then we had TSA, then we didn't have pre-check and global entry, then we did. That's got to be jamming up people's lives. I'm glad I fly on charters this time of year. That's how that works for me. So we'll reschedule Cliff and get him in here before we get to Urban Golf Weekend, which we expect to go play in for free this summer. I think that's it, buddy. So Antoinette has to deal with that. Antoinette Andrews, our show coordinator. Our video producer is Matt Schulson. Bryce Gelman already shoveling out of about 13 inches of snow in northern Jersey. Our audio producer. And again, Bryce and Matt, you have one responsibility in the show. You can jack up everything else. You just clean up that dirty mouth of mine, okay? And just for anybody, they have a week off this week. There's a car show that takes up the Biltmore every year for a week, so the Biltmore's closed. So nobody can play. Nobody can play, so I don't have to put out the warning about playing fast because nobody can play at all. Can't play at all. So you do whatever you want this week. That's it. For Ian Page, I'm Jason Jackson. We'll talk to you next time in the bag.
You better play that fast.
Still got it in. Still got it in.